The world's most advanced peptide protocol has been sitting under our nose the entire time. From life-saving medical treatment to high-performance output medicine, I am talking about none other than the Wolverine Blend. Most people are just using this as a glorified first aid kit for whenever they pull a muscle, but it has way deeper applications, and I've been studying them for the last several months. This peptide is way more advanced than anyone's giving it credit for. People are now finding out how to use it to optimize the brain, the body, the skin, the organs, everything about being a human being. And in this video, I'm uncovering all of it. I'm gonna cover the 10 best ways people are using this peptide to optimize everything about the human body. By the end of this video, you guys will leave here knowing how to use this peptide to its highest potential possible. Sit tight because we're about to go deep. Before we get started, it is important to note that I'm not a doctor. Nothing I say in this video should be misunderstood with medical advice. And if you're going to follow any of these treatment protocols, make sure you're only doing so under the direct supervision of a medical professional who is licensed and a specialist in this field of medicine. Now, let's get started. If you're unfamiliar with the Wolverine Blend, it is probably the most common stack in the peptide space right now, and it's a combination of Bpc-157 and TB500. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to breeze through the explanation because a lot of you guys are past that entry level point and you're looking for more of the mastery, and that's what we're going to cover today. All of you guys know the science about how BPC is the building blocks for anything soft tissue, so it's going to be the physical material that we use to repair injuries, and then TB500 is going to be the transport mechanism, how we disperse those materials to our body. But that's all we've ever really looked at this peptide as, is just a way to heal our injuries because it's really good at that. But people are now starting to understand how capable it is for improving every aspect of the human body. And I'll start this off with my favorite application of it, which is the brain. Bpc-157 acts as a very powerful neuromodulator, which is really just a big scientific word for a molecule that controls and balances the way your brain chemicals send messages. It becomes especially prominent when we look at areas like our dopamine production. Dopamine, of course, being our primary reward and motivation system, an absolutely vital piece of the brain for anyone who wants to be a high performer of any kind. Bpc-157 acts as a level of reinforcement to the parts of your brain that manufacture dopamine. Specifically, it stops our body from destroying tyrosine hydroxylase, which is the biological tool our brains use to manufacture dopamine in the first place. Imagine the dopamine receptors in your brain are like a row of very delicate light bulbs. They're attached to a dimmer switch, you know, the little knob that you turn up and down with the lights? Pretty much all of us every day have our light switch cranked up to 1,000 because of all of the stuff we're consuming all the time between our phones and our modern world. When these bulbs run too hot for too long, they overheat, burn out, and then melt the wires. BPC acts like that master electrician that can go in and rewire and repair those bulbs, as well as reinforce them with stronger wires for next time. A lot of you guys have probably heard about the concept of the blood-brain barrier before. It's that tight microscopic wall that guards the brain from the bad toxins that are floating around in our blood. For most of us, we've got bad toxins that make its way through that all day. When we reinforce that wall, it cuts off the stream of those bad toxins from getting to the brain, making it operate at a higher level of efficiency. Moving on to use case number 2, and this is becoming very prevalent in the medical industry, and that is leaky gut. A lot of you guys probably have this and don't even realize. If you've ever experienced extreme bloating or food sensitivity flare-ups, you're probably someone who might have leaky gut. Leaky gut is really obvious based on the name. It is separations in your gut lining that's causing toxins and other bad particles to slip through your gut, as well as stopping you from processing and metabolizing all of your food correctly. The World Journal of Gastroenterology confirms that Bpc-157 is incredibly adept at re-sewing those spaces in the gut back together, confirming that it provides, quote, high velocity healing of deep intestinal lesions, as well as chronic systemic gut inflammation, which is one of the most silent problem creators, in my opinion, in all of modern medicine. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that gut inflammation directly affects the way that our brains work, as well as our ability to process nutrients in the rest of our body, and it is a massive, massive problem. Moving on to number 3, which is an incredibly slept on part of this peptide, and that is the anti-aging benefits, specifically on collagen. This is where TB500 steps into the limelight. It is a master regular of acetin polymerization, which is the process of how our body chains together those small little proteins that lets our cells move around and make the body function the way we want it to. The way this directly affects the skin is pretty remarkable. If we want to imagine a big stretched out trampoline with old coils that are all extended, if any of you guys had a trampoline, you know you want those things tight. Aging is like the years of use and battering on that trampoline that is causing that skin to stretch out and become saggy. This is what creates wrinkles and unattractive skin. TB500 has an incredible ability to retighten those coils so that the trampoline is all springy and bouncy, or so that the skin is all stretchy and tight, especially when it comes to cellular turnover in deep skin tissue. Users experience the plumpness and the firmness of their skin return to them, even if it's already been damaged. I noticed this myself. This is why it's often included in things like the glow stack. A lot of people think the GHK is doing the heavy lifting. The GHK is the collagen refinement, but the TB500 is what makes the collagen as strong as it needs to be. One of the best use cases for this is for people who have experienced extreme sun damage. For those of you that are like me and you don't like sunscreen, if you've made the mistake of getting caught in the sun too long with no sunscreen, you do still get burned, unfortunately, unless you want to cut out seed oils. That's a conversation for another day. We'll get there somewhere else. Regardless, for any of you that experience extreme sun damage or even scarring from things like surgeries, you can use Bpc-157 and TB500 to reestablish the strength and validity of that skin. On to number 4, which is the most on-brand use of this peptide in this video, and that is restoring our hormonal production. Obviously, you guys know one of the biggest issues I talk about on this page is that everybody's hormone receptors, specifically the connection between their pituitary and their actual production of hormones, is all out of whack. Now, don't get this confused. It's not going to work like in clomiphene, which is going to strengthen that pathway from the pituitary, but it is going to give your cells the ability to work in the function that they were designed to. Here's what I mean by that. It goes deep in our cells and provides a stamp through a process of, bear with me on this, phosphorylation. Anyways, it's a term for when your body passes an energy molecule and turns it into a protein. The reason that matters is because that's how our cells listen to instructions that our body's trying to give it. That protein gives it the ability to have that on switch. That chemical stamp completely rearranges your cell's cytoskeleton, the structural shape of the cell. Now, when we get stressed or inflamed, our cell's cytoskeleton, the shape of it, drastically alters because it's trying to adjust to the new hectic environment. This gets really problematic for our hormone receptors because as our cells are changing shape and reinforcing its defenses to battle this new environment, it buries the hormone receptor. This stack allows those cells to get strengthened and reinforced and pulls the hormone receptors back up to the surface so that they're not so clouded by all of that structural change. This gives the hormones in our body the ability to work at 100% efficiency. This is very applicable for people who have things like bad diets, drink alcohol, or do anything to incite inflammation or cellular distortion in their bodies. Coming up on number 5 is going to strengthen our vascular systems. Bpc-157 is proven to spike a critical protein called VEGF, which is vascular endothelial growth factor. A lot of tongue twisters in today's video. I told you guys, today's video is not for the novice. We're going to be going deep on these. Adding in Bpc-157 is going to clean up our internal plumbing, which is our entire vascular system. Imagine our entire vascular system as our body's internal plumbing for how the blood is going to flow through our entire body, because that's what it is. Bpc-157 is going to make sure all of that plumbing is running effectively, no clogs, and we have clean, fresh pipes. Bpc-157 is going to turn on a process called angiogenesis. This is part of the reason it's so good at healing injuries, is it's able to create the formation of new blood vessel networks. It closely works with our body's nitric oxide pathways, which think about nitric oxide, a lot of people use it as a pre-workout because it's going to give us a temporary increase in our vascularity, in the extra blood flow going to the body, which is great for muscle recovery after working out. It's also going to give us a filthy looking pump when we squeeze and flex. Adding this in helps our vascular system create new pathways, especially if there are clogged or damaged pathways. This is going to deliver fresh oxygen and fresh building blocks to any areas of the body that need it. Number 6 is one that has been very top of mind for me lately, and that is neuroprotection against medication toxicity. Those of you guys who follow this page know that I have a strict vendetta against our current medical system and all of the processes behind it, especially those on over-medication and medications that end up creating more problems than they are worth. Specifically, things like painkillers, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, study drugs, all of them end up leaving a toxic residue in the body that creates a negative issue afterwards. And that's oftentimes why many people who get on some sort of pharmaceutical or prescription at a young age end up needing more of them to cover up those bad side effects that were created from the first medication. Oftentimes, it's usually an issue that stems from the brain. For this application, I'm directly referring to its ability to block edema, however you say it, edema, which is the clinical term for dangerous fluid buildup and swelling within our tissues. Taking these medications and painkillers builds up a toxic residue that directly attacks your brain's main defensive wall. Bpc-157 acts as a master defender of the endothelial layer, which is the cellular lining of all of your blood vessels. Keeping that cellular lining strong prevents those fluid leaks from getting into the head. I will take this moment to express, I really do find traditional Western medicine, American medicine, to be absolutely toxic to the human body. I think it causes more harm than good, and this is exactly why I created otmens.com. For those of you that don't know, it's a functional medicine platform where you can go and get medical guidance from licensed specialists, get your blood work done, get your blood work reviewed, and create real protocols protocols based on solutions instead of just what's the next thing I'm giving you to cover up your problems. I don't have to sit here and bore you with all the details, but if you're somebody who wants to take their health to the next step, otmens.com. I built this platform because I was sick of trying everything else out there that wasn't built for us. Okay, back to the video. Number 7 is we've seen an incredible ability to drop systemic acute inflammation. TB500 goes straight into the command center of your immune cells, and it blocks the molecule that turns on our inflammation, which is NF-κB. When we experience an unexpected injury or our body kicks up an inflammation, our normal response is to release a huge wave of cytokines, which are tiny little chemical alarms that tell the body something's messed up. TB500 blocks that switch so that our body doesn't swell up at the first sign of pain. I've said it before, and it's been proven time and time again. Chronic inflammation is the start of all chronic disease in the United States, whether it is in the gut, whether it's in the organs, whether it's in any parts of our body. Inflammation is the killer of all humans in America. Speeding through this video because I got to keep this video on time. Number 8, liver enzymes. Same thing for those of you who have eaten a lot of bad food in your day, drank a lot of alcohol in your day, this guy, or done anything to rip up your liver. Bpc-157 acts as a stabilizing layer of our lipids in our liver. When we get exposed to toxins, alcohol, supplements, whatever it's going to be, the liver cells usually stretch out and then pop open, thus leaking their contents into our bloodstream. Bpc-157 blocks out lipid peroxidation, which is the scientific term for the falling apart of those cells. By keeping those cells intact and strong and no longer popping, it keeps all of the vital liver enzymes that we need in our liver, instead of popping, oxidizing, and then leaking out into the bloodstream, all toxic and destroying other parts of our body. This will heavily decrease the load on our metabolic stress. Number 9, huge advantage on our physique is speeding up our digestive enzyme adaptation. So the ability for our digestive enzymes to change. If you didn't know, our stomach lining changes and alters itself to protect us from different types of foods that we eat. If you didn't know, our intestines oftentimes shift and change to process different kinds of foods. Using the Wolverine Blend, we stimulate our intestinal mucosa, which is the essential nutrient-absorbing mucus layer inside our intestines. Kinda gross, but effective. When this system inside the body is optimized, we're able to digest our food and absorb the nutrients at much higher levels than most people who go through their life never thinking about this process. I mean, why would you? You're certainly not going to hear about this at your check. And at number 10, the one that is going to make the biggest difference physically for us is accelerating ligament tensile strength. BPC travels directly into our soft tissues and upregulates, believe it or not, growth hormone receptors inside our joint fibroblasts. This is like our body's structural collagen factory. By strengthening the receptors on these cells, we supercharge our ability to produce collagen filaments. When these are running at their highest strength, we can work out and perform at our highest levels. This is what creates injury in a lot of people, especially those who are extremely muscular, because they spend all this time putting all this size on their muscles, but their joints and ligaments don't have any strengthening mechanism, and they end up falling behind, which is what causes us to get those elbow, those knee, those shoulder injuries that we're all so accustomed to. These new collagen ropes that we're producing weave in between those joints and tendons, making them stronger and longer lasting, transforming those loose, frayed fibers into strong, steel-like connections within the body. Guys, if you like finding out ways about how to improve your body and improve your mind in all forms and facets, that is everything I post on this page. I post videos like this twice a week, and if you want to see more of them, hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you don't miss anything we put up going forward, and I will see you guys in the next one.